without this stuff, you know what I'm saying, my family ain't gonna be right.
No doubt.
So it's like put you in a bind,
and that's so when you start to look at it and you be like, man, dang, man, my family ain't really first, man. Is that a problem,
really
right? Yeah, then you be like, man, hold up, because that's not really what I want to, you know, right. I don't want to go at life like that. You know what I'm saying?
Because I got a few niggas that's like, they can't tell you their kids' clothes size.
No doubt, no doubt.
But they don't want for nothing.
No doubt, absolutely,
nothing,
absolutely.
And that be like, you know, so that's the really fucked up part about it.
Right, no doubt, no doubt.
You go to the store and you gotta call like, what size she wear?
What size? Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
You realize like, damn, like
that's heavy duty,
last
man.
time I bought something, last time I realized her where size she was for real, like on the back of my head was like, she was like 4.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
Everything else is here goes some money.
That's big, man.
Here goes some money. Here goes some money.
That's big.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, that's really being involved, man. When you start knowing their shoe sizes and clothes sizes and stuff like that, then you know you really involved to a whole nother level, man. You know,
like you just put everything off on your baby mom, like.
Right. Because it's convenient, right? It's convenient, man. But it comes with a price when you do that, though. You know what I'm saying? You can do it. It just comes with a price.
Right.
You know, you can do it. It just comes with a price, man. You know, that's dope, man.
I took a class in high school, but like I said, this back when
Finish
I was
your paperwork, bro.
But
man.
When I was in high school, they didn't have a lot of. It was just, you know, teenage fatherhood was just a new thing. I mean, back in the early '90s.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's a class called grads, but I mean, I took everything from it because I was the youngest of 3 brothers. So I didn't know how to change diapers and like that. If it wasn't for my ex, her being in like a 8 brother and sister family and like 4 of them being younger than her, she knew how to do everything. Change diapers. I don't know how to do change diapers and everything, like on a baby doll.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just like all that. So I mean, from that grads program, I mean, obviously, you know, they did a lot for us. And then we actually moved out. I quit school, went to work. And then my wife was actually in senior high school. It was my senior year. We lived on our own. Because I was 18, she was 17, we were married. So I was actually working a full-time job, already had my GED, and living on our own as my ex-wife was finishing her senior year, but she was a valedictorian. I knew she was going to go to college and stuff. I didn't want her to quit, you know?
Absolutely.
So, but, yeah, if it wasn't for that program, I'd have been lost. You know what I mean? Because they helped us get on, you know, assistance, all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
But like when it comes to like interacting with your children, what did they teach you with that about that?
Oh, they had like a lot of informational stuff, you know what I mean? How to, well, a lot of that stuff was more like teaching me about more when they were smaller.
Right.
When they was baby, it wasn't so much whenever you got to 3, 4, 5 years old.
Oh, okay, got you. So, because a lot of times I know that the parenting programs, they be, you know, talking about, man, how not to lay them on their stomach and things like that.
Right.
You know,
Not
how to check the temperature of the milk and things like that, right? And I think that this is what bores a lot of, you know, people for real in the parenting program, because it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I understand, but I mean, it's a part of the parenting piece, but it's so much more to it.
Yeah, they don't cover like later on down the road.
Right.
They're just
no
preparing
doubt.
you for like the
no
next
doubt.
year or two.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? Like they showed us, like, I'll never forget this, you know, being 15 years old and watching a video of live birth. You know what I mean? Like this is what to prepare yourself whenever she goes into labor. You know what I mean? And stuff like that.
Right.
I'm just like, you know, it was like, no, oh my God, I can't work with that.
So then when you think about it, it's like, man, how do I get prepared to do my actual job that I have to do, that is on me to do? Like, I'm a father. I just wrote my 3rd book that I just written was The Greatest Responsibility, Becoming the Parent Your Child Deserves. And I say that, man, children are our greatest responsibility, because if you think about it, we are responsible for the development of an actual individual. That means that who they gonna be is based on what we pour into them. The way that we interact with them is how they gonna be, or the way that we allow others to interact with them is how they gonna be, right? Because children, they come into the world just like we come into this world. What? We come into this world as a blank board, right? We don't know how to do, we don't know how to be. We learn how to do and how to be based on our environment and the way that we've been raised. So if we can't figure out how to figure problems out, if we going at life in the wrong way, right, it's because we've been raised
So basically,
that way.
Saying, like when I was growing up, I knew how to check a bottle at a young age.
Right,
you know,
right.
Go make that body,
right,
you feel me?
Right.
And stuff like that, though. But I see what you're saying.
Because it's bigger than that.
Yeah.
You know, it's bigger than that. You know, because you can feed the child food and things like that and put clothes on their back and put a roof over their head. But what about, man, making sure that they got the right mind to go at life with? Because that's what will determine where we're going to be at in life, is the way that our minds are set up. If our minds ain't set up the right way, then guess what? We're not going to be in the right places, period.
Because I got 3 kids. My oldest daughter, she play basketball. She 11. She 5'4". You feel me? And, man, she's something different.
Absolutely.
My daughter that's 10, she gonna be the cheerleader. But my son, he's scared because he act too much like me.
Right.
You feel me? He be
right.
Man. You know what I'm saying? He got a little money in his little drawer. You know, I'm looking at it now because I just got out of prison. And now since I've been out of prison, I got out August 10th. I stayed out 40 days, came back, did 30 days, stayed out 50 days, came back, did another 30 days. Now I just stayed out 60 days. Now I'm back doing 90.
Right.
So I'm like, damn. You know what I'm saying? But man. It's crazy because he got a little toy gun. He used to sleep with it under his pillow. You know what I'm saying? I'm
right.
You feel me? It scared me to the point. Like, I don't want him to be like me. You know what I'm saying? But he's something different. So I know I got to be on him, but I be missing too much.
Right.
Because I'm always in the streets and, you know what I'm saying, thinking this is what taking care of him is, but it ain't really that. But I feel like I got it so in me to be a alpha, to make sure my family's straight, you know what I'm saying, and me not working a 9 to 5. I'm really messing up though, you know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
I'm thinking I'm giving them everything, because when I came home from prison, I gave them everything, because I felt like I was missing out on everything. I did the right thing by taking them to school, picking them up, and doing all that, but at the end of the day, I was still in the streets.
Right, absolutely.
So I'm still going through the same cycle, and that's all he know, you know what I'm saying? And I'm I'm kind of scared at the same time too, but man.
So then this is why it's so important to actually become who you want your children to be, right? Because it's difficult to be able to show anybody the direction if we ain't going in that direction. We don't want to be pointers, right? As a leader, we are leaders of our household. We are leaders of our children's lives. We don't want to be them pointers, right? We don't want to tell them, you go over there, but I'm going over here. They're not going to receive that message like that. They're going to go where you going.
Kids are sponges at early.
They're sponges. If they see you going this way, then what they're going to say is, man, you telling me to go a way you not going. Mm-hmm. So how you going to tell me to go a way you not going? If it's good for me, then it would be good for you. Don't try to give me something that you ain't going to take. That's almost like, would you drink out of the cup and somebody say, I'm going to drink out of this cup and then I'm going to give you another cup to drink out of. You start to look at me and say, man, well, why are you giving me another cup, man? You know, why? How come I can't drink out of your cup? Mm-hmm. Right? The way that I'm going to trust the contents in that glass is if I see you drink the contents in that glass. When I see you drink the contents in that glass, guess what I'm going to do? Okay, it's good for me, because if you going to drink it, then I know that you ain't going to give me something that you wouldn't drink, right? So now I can trust the contents, right? So we don't want to be saying one thing and then doing a whole different other. You know, so that's what I always challenge guys with, that is saying, man, you know what, if we are really out here, man, grinding and in the streets and doing these things for our children, is that going to give our children what they need to be able to be successful?
Nope, it's only there for the moment.
It's only there for the moment. Like, at the end of the day, that's what I tell people, man, like, that stuff, that street money, that stuff is monopoly money, man. You know, that stuff goes. It goes. It's monopoly money. It's not even real money. You know, the reason why it's not real money is because, I mean, you know, it gets taken, people rob it, you know, like, it just goes, you know, and then you go do time, and then you come home and you got to start all over again.
Most of them in the club.
Right. It's just, and that's why I say, so it's not even, you know, actual money, you know, so then this is something that we got to just start to think about. And that's what this class is about. So that's why I say, when I ask about, man, the parenting classes that y'all been in before, you know, what did you get from it? Right? Because you want to be able to get something from it so you can do what you say that you want to do to the best of your ability. You know, that's what it's about. So that's why I get excited. And that's why I said earlier, man, I was excited because every time that I got an opportunity to be able to teach another cohort of fatherhood classes, man, it's a beautiful thing for me. The reason being is because, man, I'm a father. And the more that I teach this stuff, the more that it locks it in for me. So I become a better father when I'm teaching other fathers, man, how to go at this parenting piece. You see what I'm saying? It's a win-win situation. So people who go through my classes, they be like, man, this stuff was some next level stuff. Man, I got a new perspective on how important, man, being a father is, man. You know, and it changes the game. So for me to be able to deliver the message, I got to have it in me. You see what I'm saying? So now when I go back and I parent my children, now I'm interacting with them in a whole new way because I teach it and I go back and I apply it. I have 3 children. I have a 24-year-old son, I have a 12-year-old son, and I have a 5-year-old daughter, right? My son, I had him after he was 10 years old, and I've been rocking with him, and I'm going to tell y'all a little bit of that backstory. And I had him from 10 on until he graduated. He graduated high school. He currently, right now, he married. He got children himself, so it's a game changer, right? My son, he's 12 years old. Me and his mother had got a divorce, man, back when he was in 2nd grade. So we've been separated since he was in 2nd grade, but he's been living with me from 3rd grade on until now. He's in the 8th grade. So I have my son 5 days of the week. He go to his mom on the weekends, right? And my daughter's mom, my daughter was born, you know, when I was actually married, right? And we had got a divorce, and then I got with my daughter's mom, and we started to build our relationship. But we in separate households, and my daughter and my daughter's mother, me and my daughter's mother, we alternate weeks. So I have my daughter week on, week off, right? So we alternate weeks. And this is what's set up in our shared parenting plan. So I got paperwork on all of my children, fellas. That means that I don't argue about, man, parenting my children. That means everything is detailed. You know, like I'm going to have my child week on, week off, you know.
I couldn't do that.
What, with the week on, week off?
No, because I never signed neither a birth certificate between one of my kids.
Right. So then now what you got to do is you got to get paternity established. So then that's what I had to do. I had to establish paternity. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. This is all a part of it. I take care of my
kid on my own, you feel what I'm saying? So, but I've always said that because, like, my dad, he wanted to put that into me too, though.
Right.
Because he didn't sign my birth certificate. And I always wondered, like, why my dad...
Because he didn't want to pay child support.
Exactly.
Right. So I don't pay no child support, fellas. So, and again, like, the reason why you would pay child support is because the mom says that she wants you to be on child support. And if she doesn't want you to be on child support now, then when you go ahead and establish paternity, she's not going to say that she needs you on child support, especially if you are a father that's there and present, right? It changes the game.
They take government assistance. Like, my first baby mom do, but my second baby mom don't.
Right. So if she takes, again, high quality information versus low quality information, fellas. So if she is getting checks, cash assistance from the government, then that's how she gets forced to put you on child support. But if she isn't getting actual checks from the government, then you will not get forced to be put on child support. The only way that you will be forced to be put on child support is if you get checks. But if she's getting health benefits, if she's getting food stamps and Medicare and stuff like that, that doesn't put you on child support.
See, man, I got one of them baby mamas that if we ain't together, the kids, you know what I'm saying? If I'm with her, I can always get my kids. We can always, do whatever. But if I'm not with her, it's limitations.
Right, no doubt. And this is a problem. This is a problem. And then your children will suffer, right? And not only that, but you being actually controlled, right? You got to walk on eggshells, do what she tell you to do. And we don't want to be like that, right? It's going to weaken the relationship between us and our children. And not only that, but we also got to think about this. When you don't have yourself established as far as your children is concerned, then that means that you have no access access to your children, literally, because in the state of Ohio, unless you had your child when y'all was married, and most of us had our children outside of wedlock. But if you had your child outside of wedlock, Ohio revised code 3109.042. I would Google it if I was you. It says that the mother is the sole residential custodian of the child if she's had a child outside of wedlock. That means she has all legal responsibilities. She has all control over that child if she has had a child outside of wedlock until a court of competent jurisdiction deems otherwise.
So how many times have you read that, brother?
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, because I was faced with that. You know, I know it's crazy. I was faced with that. There's certain things that, you know, I got locked into my head, brother, that I can't get out. And it helps me with the way that I move, the way that I make my decisions. Information influences thinking, and thinking controls behavior. You know something else that I know, right? The 13th Amendment. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except for as punishment for a crime where if the party shall have been duly convicted shall exist in the United States or any other place subject to their jurisdiction. That means that the only way that you can be a slave in the United States of America is if you get convicted of a crime and it serves as punishment. And this is the reason why you can go inside of these prisons and things like that and people are getting paid 22 cents an hour, right? And bigger companies are targeting the prisons now to get the work done. You got Walmart, you got Hewlett Packard, you got Target, you got Honda, you got them targeting the prisons now because it's 2.3 million people that is currently incarcerated in the United States of America. They say, man, we don't have to go to Mexico and get people from Mexico to work. We got our own people right here who are legal slaves because the Constitution, the law of the land, says that they are. So you got people like benefiting off of people getting incarcerated. So when you adopt a philosophy that gets you incarcerated, you are actually saying, I volunteer to be a legal slave. And this is an issue with me. Why do I remember that? Because when I was 19 years old, from 13 to 19, I sold dope. I got hit at 19 years old, attempted murder, possession of drugs, drug trafficking, possession of firearms. I had to go away and do a 10-year prison sentence in Marion Correctional Institution. My son was 3 months old, and that's when I met a seasoned individual, and he said, Carlos, man, you know you're a legal slave, right? And I said, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I know it's like slavery. He said, no, brother, it's bigger than it being like slavery. This is slavery. And he said, man, and he pointed me to the 13th Amendment, and that's what changed the game for me. That's when I said, man, I will never, man, put myself in a position to get incarcerated ever again. That means that I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get different information so I can develop a different philosophy so I don't get incarcerated, because the information that I received from my environment that told me, Carlos, go ahead and sell this dope. Carlos, go ahead and pack these guns. Carlos, go ahead and blow somebody's head off if they come against you. When I heard that, I developed my philosophy off of that information, and it put me in a place to where I was a legal slave. I felt like I had been had. And then I said, my son being 3 months old when I got incarcerated, I said, hold up. You mean to tell me if I don't do what I need to do, then my son, 20 years from now, he's going to enter into the same facilities that I don't want to be in? Like, I looked at my environment and I said, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be around all men. I don't want to be on a cot where I can't even roll over. I got to flip over because it's so small. The cot is shaped like a casket. I don't want to eat everything resembles death about prison, right? You come in that puppy naked. You don't have nothing from the streets. The water is hard. The showers is hard. Everything is hard. The bed is hard. Everything is hard. So I said to myself, just like looking and evaluating myself, I think that this is the greatest issue that we face in society, is that people don't do no self-evaluation. They evaluate everything else instead of evaluating themselves. And because they never evaluate themselves, they continue to go out there with these same errors in their thinking, and they continue to destroy their lives. And not only do they destroy their lives, but they also destroy the lives of the people that they touch. That means that they got poison going on in their heads, right? A poisonous mentality. So everybody that they touch, they are going to infect them with that poisonous mentality. So I say that, man, the one person that I definitely don't want to infect is who? My son, who's going to be 10 years old when I get released from prison. I did 10 years, brothers, day for day. It was no break. 19 to 29 years old. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I send a judicial release. Judge, let me out, man. I'm in college and everything. Let me out. No, get back in there, brother. Heard you. All the way until 29 years old, man. And I got released in 2007, right before the economy was declared the Great Recession. But I had a hunger inside of me that nothing outside of me can stop me. Literally, I've been home for 14 years. Nothing can stop me, brothers. If I can get through 10 years in prison and come home in 2007 in the middle of the Great Recession with attempted murder, possession of drugs, drug trafficking, possession of firearms on my background, brother, how can anybody be stopped? It's about what I did when I was incarcerated, though. That's what changed the game for me, fellas. I got busy. I invested so much into developing myself and making sure that I worked on myself more than I worked on anything or anybody. That means there was no job that I was going to work on more than I worked on myself. Right? Because that's where the work needed to be done at. And because I worked on myself like I did, it changed the game. I got into college, right? I graduated for business management with a 3.83 GPA. I got into the computers and learned how to do the keyboards and everything, Microsoft Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and Access. I got into Spanish. Exio mucho, pero traigo mucho a la mesa. I demand a lot, but I bring a lot to the table, right? I just got into everything that I possibly could because I was so convinced that if I didn't become the individual that I needed to be, then my child, my son, who I love, that brother saved my life. I felt like that he would become like I was, and I wasn't satisfied where I was at. And I said to myself, the reason that I'm at where I'm at is because I was who I was. So I gotta be who I need to be so I can be in a different place. Now the stuff tastes so much different for me, man.
You ain't gotta look over your back.
Oh my gosh, man. Like, it's different living, man. Like, live well. Live well. So when I say, man, I'm thankful, I mean that stuff, man. There's nothing that can be going on out there. Pandemic, it doesn't matter. People like, man, hey, it's depressing. It's like, it ain't depressing for me. Do you know what I've been through? Man, I've been through hell. I done lost, man, my brothers and everything, man. Buried people, man. I've been through hell. But it's like, man, it's nothing out there that can get me to say, man, you know what, sit down, Los. I'm going to continue to progress. Because that's when you really feel fulfilled in life, is when you see some progression. And the only way that you can see some progression is if you got the right information that's circulating in your mind to develop the philosophy that you need to have. If you ain't got the right information, brothers, there's no way that you're going to be able to have the mind that you need to be able to go at life with. The issue is not everything else outside of you. The issue is everything that's inside of you. Your mind is your greatest tool, and you want your mind to be used for your advantage. You don't want your mind to be a disadvantage, right? You don't want your mind to be used against you. People say, man, how so? How can my mind be used against me? Because people will tell you what you're not, and you'll start to tell you what you're not. People will tell you what you've done wrong, and you start to focus on what you've done wrong. You will let your past pull you instead of allowing your future to pull you. You will continue to say, man, I ain't gonna be. It's over for me. Stick a fork in me. And if you say stick a fork in you, brother, then you might as well have a fork stuck in you, because you're not going to go out there and look for the opportunities that are available to be able to help you to progress. It's all in you. This is the beauty in it all. Man, nothing can stop you once you say that you will not be stopped. Nothing is as strong as the human will. Like, your will can get anything done. Brother, Prime example. Man, I just had to sign my daughter up for school. Man, you know how difficult that was? That stuff took some time. Brothers, the stuff that take like easy for the women to do, it's more difficult for like, I'm just saying for me, because I'm not like as savvy as maybe a woman would be. But I'm sitting up there signing my daughter up for school. I had to go down there to the courts and get residential custody, first of all, to be able to have her go to school for my address that I just closed on last year. But it's in a good school district, so then that's why me and the mother, we agreed to send her from my address, because that's a good school district. It's in Pickerington. So she like, man, yeah, heck yeah, let's send her through there and give her a leg up. Absolutely. But that takes me getting on the computer and scanning paperwork in, birth certificates, custody documents, and things like that, getting that to the school. But I'm willing to do that. Why? Because my children, they matter, man. Like, I don't just talk it because I got lips, man. I mean that stuff, man. My children matter. And that's why I became the individual that I am now, because my children matter. I don't want to just sit up here and say my children matter and they really don't matter. And you can tell that they really don't matter by my actions. We can say whatever we want to say, but what's really being said is looked at with your actions. So when you said, man, hold up, I had to evaluate myself, brother. Like I started to say, I said out of my lips, family over everything.
Family first.
Oh, family first. Family first. I said out of my lips, family first, but when I started to evaluate, and I seen that my family isn't actually first, right? Then that's when you come to that understanding. Now it's on you to say, hold up, let me go ahead and rearrange some things so my family can actually be first. Because now you are aware. Before you wasn't aware. And that's the reason why the family wasn't actually first. You was thinking that they were first, but they weren't actually first because you wasn't aware. You wasn't conscious. So when we are fathers, we want to be conscious as fathers. That means that we want to make sure that we are going in the direction that we want to go. Right? We are reaching a destination that we want to be. And the only way that we can reach that destination is if we are pointing in that direction. That means that I can't reach the destination if I'm pointed in this direction. Does that make sense? How can I reach the destination over there if family first is the destination, but I'm pointing in this direction? What destination am I going to reach? The destination where I am, in which direction I am pointed at. So then that's why it is on me to do what? Change directions. And you can change direction, brothers. This is why it's so important. And this is why I get excited. And this is why I sweat it out. This is why I give brothers everything I got. Because I understand that you can change directions with one word. One word, you can change directions. You won't reach your destination overnight. It might take 5 to 10 years to reach your destination. But guess what? Absolutely. But guess what? You can change your direction with one word. You can change your direction overnight. It doesn't take much to change your direction. And now you'll start to, embark on a new journey. You see what I'm saying? Like before, when I was 19 years old and I'm sitting up there and I'm coming inside of the facility at 19 years old with a 10-year prison sentence to serve, I was going in that was my destination. But what did I say? If I kept on, then I was going to end up going over the cliff, right? So I said, hold up, I got to change my direction. Because I want my destination to be different. So where you see me at now, this is 14 years that I've been home, is because I changed my direction at 19 in 1997. And because I changed my direction, guess what, brothers, man, I'm a homeowner twice. I bought my first home, me and my wife then, we bought a home in 2009. And then we got a divorce. I left her the home, so she kept the home. I rented in a condo for about 4 years, and then after that, just last year, I closed on my house in Pickerington, solo dolo. So now our son that we got together, our 12-year-old son, he actually has two parents who own their homes. Do you know how inspirational that is for that little brother? Like straight up, just real stuff. I starts within in 2011. We got access to all of the prisons inside of the state of Ohio. You'll see this documentary has been in all of the prisons inside of the state of Ohio. It's crazy. I'm flooding the prisons with the documentary, man, because I got the connections with the people at the top. So then they allow the access that I need to get into the prisons to give the brothers the messages that they need to have. What's the messages? It starts within. It starts with you. And that means that you have everything that you need, you have. Like, brother, let's just start utilizing that stuff. Nothing can stop you if you just use what you got. You got to go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm sorry.
Okay, cool.
Get that man a rag if you can.
Man, thank you, absolutely.
Turn the AC on.
Still need a rag.
Yeah, and then I still need a rag too to bring myself back together. Absolutely. Right, absolutely. But that's what it is, brothers. Like, appreciate you, brother. But that's what it is, brothers. It's just like, so the organization was established because it's been placed inside of me. So what you see on the bottom of the shirt is turn the penitentiary on his head, stand the community on his feet. It's a caricature of myself. This is me.
I thought that was R. Kelly.
No doubt, no. This is a caricature of myself, man. So this is my actual number that I did the 10 years on, 355-519, to evolving to this guy on the right-hand side, man, from a liability in the community to becoming an asset in the community. But that's only because I developed a philosophy that I needed to have to be able to go at life with. It was no magical dust that was sprinkled on me. I didn't go out there and say, I wish everything would change or I hope everything would change. I put in the work for stuff to change, literally. Like, I literally came against the philosophy that I had. And the way that I came against it is by getting new information that contradicted the information that I was currently operating off of. Because I was able to say, man, this information was low quality information. It didn't put me in a desirable place. When you can look and evaluate your life and you say, man, hold up, I'm not in the place that I want to be. The first place that you must start at is the way that you think. Because the reason why you are where you are at is because the way that you think. And guess what I've realized? We get raised to think a certain way.
So it make you realize like everything that we was taught was really wrong.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The tools that you was given to go at life with, bogus tools.
But like, it was like somebody was telling me, it was like, it ain't really our fault. It's like, it's our parents' fault. It's our parents' fault because at the end of the day, it's like, because like, I want to say like our grandparents and great-grandparents, like them was like for my age, them was like the last people that was like actually like raised the way like my great-grandpa, he came, we went to the army, whatever, he was married by 18, and his wife, which was my great-grandmother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Had the military, came home, worked, retired from the Westinghouse, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, everything was revolving around the home. He owned a home, everybody that lived in his home was taken care of.
Absolutely.
He had $10 to his name,
Absolutely.
everything was taken care of.
Absolutely.
You needed new shoes, he needed this, he wanted a video game, whatever, all my bills was paid, whatever, and he had $10. Whatever it may be. But now it's like,
it's just all jacked up.
It's kind of trickled down where like now you had the era where like drugs hit real bad.
Crack tore us up.
They're talking about my family, my uncles, which was their sons and whatever, and nieces or whatever, my mom, whatever. Crack hit very hard. And then that's where it's like it kind of fucked up everything for us.
The family structure.
Up, you know what I'm saying? Not just them, it's just for us. I'm not looking at them, I'm talking about the kids under them.
No doubt.
I'm sorry, but they asked us up here, and I asked them. They're doing an intake right now.
Okay.
We can't do it right now.
Okay.
So I was like, man, sweating to death and can't get it right.
It's like they told you,
let
them sweat it out.
Yeah, well, that was my door's in front of the desk. It's because my door's up there. Everybody else can come up here.
He said, let them sweat it
out. He's like, no, you can't right now. I said, that or you want me to piss in the corner over here.
No doubt.
You know
that's cool. We'll get through it.
Sorry about that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, but it's like, it's the kids though. It's like as in me, they really didn't have no guidance besides my great-grandparents. But I can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, connect with somebody that's not even in my age range or somebody that's not really like, okay,
right.
It's not my mom, my dad, whatever. Right. So I'm not really looking at you as like, okay, you want to discipline me or for doing this. And I'm out running the streets. You can't chase me. Or something.
Right.
At an early age, man. That's when you got people, older homies in the street. You bump into.
They'll go ahead and lead you in a direction, and you be like, "Wow,
you're not my kid. You just a pawn."
Right. Absolutely right, man. But the thing about it is, you are a pawn, but they also are pawns, right? So it's like the blind leading the blind. This is what's crazy.
The people that we look up to,
because they don't know. We look up to them, and it's just like it's crazy because they giving us some stuff that that they taking that they don't like. Appreciate it, brother. So that's good that you say that, because just because we can say, man, the family structure wasn't like it needs to be, or whatever may be the case, still doesn't matter, right? So it doesn't even matter who we can point the finger at. It doesn't matter because we still got to live this life. It's still going to be up to us to change the directions and start to put it together. Just remember, man, you have come to this world with everything that you need regardless. So you're going to come in contact with the information. You're going to come to somebody. Like if you seek, you're going to find. But you got to seek, right? If you seeking for something better, then you're going to find something better. But if you're not seeking for nothing better, brother, you're not going to get nothing better. That's what's so beautiful about, man, just being a human being. Because you can literally, man, search and seek. And you're going to find that better if you're looking for it. But if you have accepted defeat, if you have accepted loss, then you're going to lose. But if you say, man, I will not lose, I'm going to win, I don't care, you're going to find a way to obtain victory, period. It doesn't matter what come at you. It doesn't matter how. That's why I say defy the odds, brothers. That's why I say defy the odds. It's up here. That's why I defy the odds. Statistically speaking, I should have been incarcerated a long time ago. I've been home for 14 years. Statistically speaking, my son, who's 24 years old right now, should be incarcerated, because they say that when a child grows up with an incarcerated parent, the likelihood of them getting incarcerated is way greater than their counterparts.
It's like 85, 80 something like that.
Right. Why is that? Because the household structure is broken, and the way that they're going to come up is going to be different. It's going to be similar to the way that their fathers then came up, or that incarcerated parent then came up. My mother was incarcerated. My father raised me and my brother, because my mother, she got caught up in the crack epidemic back in the 80s. So my father raised me and my brother. She moved to Tennessee. She got incarcerated for robbery cases and all of that other stuff, right? So guess what? I got incarcerated at 19. My brother got incarcerated at 18. My brother was on his like 4th, 5th number. The likelihood of your children getting incarcerated is great. So when my son is 24 years old and that brother married and he got 3 children right now, I'm a grandfather, you know what that says? He's defied the odds. But guess what it is for my children? And my 2 children, my 12-year-old and my 5-year-old daughter, and then my grandchildren. Guess what it is for them? Me and my son, my oldest son, defied the odds. But guess what it is for my 2 children, who's 12, and the other one, my daughter, who's 5, and then my grandchildren, my 3 grandchildren. Guess what it is for them? You think that they define the odds? You think that my grandchildren and my other 2 children is defying the odds? You think so? Nah. This is what's so beautiful about it, because the odds are actually in their favor. That changes the game. The odds are in their favor because they got both parents in their lives, right? We are there to guide them and mold them on how they should be. And I'm not leaving their molding and their development up to Young Jeezy or Lil Baby or Da Baby or JoJo Siwa. I'm not leaving their development up to businesses, because businesses' main objective is what? To make a profit. It's not to develop your children to be the best them that they need to be. I'm in that driver's seat in my children's lives. My son is in the driver's seat of my grandchildren's lives. And because we are in the driver's seats, guess what? We ain't going to end up there, not going to end up any old type of way. When you end up any old type of way, you're going to be in any old type of place. And these are the type of places that we end up in. We end up doing 10 years, brothers. We end up doing life without parole. We end up like that. Brothers getting locked up at 19 years old, 18 years old, doing life without no parole. Because we ain't intentional, because it wasn't somebody who was intentional about the way that they interacted with us. My father had me when he was young. My mother, she was into what she was into. And because of that, guess what? I was open to the block. I was open up to all of these different people giving me this information, bogus information. This is how you do life. Where my good brother Moore at? Well, the brother that had the babies at 15 because they told him, because they, oh yeah. Because they told you, like, man, you know what, hey, just pull out and you'll be able to get away from getting them pregnant, right? How valuable are we? So that's why I come in here and I give brothers everything I got. Because you got to understand, brothers, y'all too valuable to be in a place like this. It's work to do. It's too valuable for you, too valuable to be up in here, to be incarcerated.
He always told me, he said, you want things you never had before, you want things you never known.
That's powerful.
Because we get too comfortable.
That's what it is, man. You got to be uncomfortable.
People don't like being uncomfortable.
And that's so people, they gravitate towards the comfort, brother. It was uncomfortable, man, doing what I needed to do inside of the jungle. Like, I stopped cussing inside of the penitentiary, man, because I said, man, I'm gonna stop cussing, man. I don't even want to have the same language, right? I'm coming against everything. I'm gonna stop cussing, right? I did that intentionally. I started to say mother lover. You know, like, you mother lover.
You ever seen the last ESPY that just happened? You just watched the recent ESPYs?
But
there was a kid on there that was, he was Down syndrome and he did the Ironman.
Wow.
He did the Ironman, completed the Ironman.
Wow.
But the first one to ever do it.
The first one ever do it.
See what I'm saying?
But he had a shirt, but every day he did something, he said, as long as I get 1% better. But he had a shirt. He had a shirt that it said something about 1% better. But
That's it.
It made me realize, like, bro, damn, a kid with Down syndrome can be like, as long as I get 1% better every day.
That's the game.
That's crazy.
That's how you become great.
There's no excuse for, like.
There's no excuse.
There's no excuse. Because me personally, I don't want to work. I'm just be 100.
No doubt.
I don't want to work. I mean, I know I'm gonna have to go home and work, but I'd rather have my money work for me. I don't want to be working for somebody for the rest of my life when I can be doing the same thing.
Right.
The same person that's employing me, I can do it to somebody else.
No doubt. It's just about how you work.
It's about how you. I mean, I'm talking about selling drugs.
Right.
Whether it's I start a business, post a business, or have my girl do an aesthetics line, or food truck, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's so many other options. Landscaping. For me not to be able to work for somebody else.
No doubt. For you to be able to create your own revenue.
12, 15, 16
no doubt.
I'm about to be receiving.
No
I
doubt.
have to be giving that out of the way and then collecting the majority of money that same person is employing me on my end.
Absolutely right.
I want to write off taxes at the end.
Right.
At the end of the year. You know what I'm saying?
Doubt.
I want to be like, I want to go to California and be like, all right, it was a business trip.
You got some lofty goals, brother, and I'm going to tell you this. It's just
going to take... Being locked up, there's other people that's like doing life and people that, that taught me this and stuff that they should have did, but they got caught up.
So now it's just going to take, like, you got to be so aggressive with the development of yourself, right? You got to put the work in on yourself to be able to achieve
that's hard, though. I ain't gonna lie to you.
That's why it offers so much benefit, brother.
It's so hard because at the end of the day, you know, like, all right, I'm gonna have to work this job. I'm only be getting paid $13 an hour, but I know at the end of the day, like, I was making $1,800 a day versus making $13.
No doubt.
$30.
No doubt. No doubt. For you to be in them positions, like for you to be in a position that you want to be in life, what I realize is that you got to work on yourself more than you work on anything, more than any job. If you don't work on yourself, then you will be restricted to just that $13 hour job. You will be restricted to that type of living, right? Right now, my books, they get bought, man, by the sheriffs and the prisons and everything else, and they flood my books through the jails and prisons, right? But that's because of the work that I've done on myself, right? So if you do the work on yourself that you need to do, and what does that work look like? It's just continuing to develop that philosophy that you need to have. Like continuing to get next to people who talking about something. So you talking about something. It takes reading. Do you know that the average American reads one book a year? One book a year. The average American. Some people don't even read no books, right? So do you think reading is fun and exciting? No, but it's necessary to be able to start to get new perspectives, new ideas. That's how you get.
That's the best way to hide something.
Look at all these books in here. How many books you think people ain't gonna say, man, I done read through all these books, right?
That's the best way to hide something.
These books are just up here for decoration. But it's ideas in these books, and this is where the work come into place at. So I gotta intentionally open up a book and read it because it's not exciting. I had to train and condition my mind to read books. I listened to YouTube stations and powerful speeches and things like that while I'm working out. Instead of listening to, man, like music, sometimes I listen to my music, but I also listen to people talking about real stuff that I need to talk about so I can get some new insight about the way that I'm doing life. But if we don't put in that level of work, brothers, then how can we seriously say that we want that? You can say it. That's almost as if I'm looking at the ground and I'm saying, man, I'm hungry, ground. Do you think that the ground is going to give me food? Because I look at the ground and I say, man, I'm hungry. I'm hungry, ground. Give me food. I can even get even angrier. Give me some food, ground. I'm hungry. Do you think that the ground is going to produce me any crops because I say that I want some food or because I say that I need some food? I demand food from you, ground. I want it. I need it. Do you think the ground is going to produce me any crops? I mean, do you think it's going to produce me any crops?
I'm working.
What do I got to do for the ground to produce me some crops? I gotta plant the seed. So the ground will look at me and say, Joker, you got to be kidding. You operating off of low quality information. I don't know who you've been dealing with that gave you that philosophy to make you think that I'm going to give you some crops when you just talking about what you need or you talking about what you want and you ain't coming to me with your seed. You ain't putting in the work for what you saying that you want.
Get what you put in.
You willing to sacrifice? Like, people want this harvest, and then you look at other people who eating good, and you be like, man, I want that food too. It's like, I hear you saying it, but are you planting the seed to be able to warrant that type of harvest? And when the answer is no, guess who you can point the finger at? You can't point it at your parents. You can't point it at your broken household. You can't point it at nobody. You can, but it's not going to do you any justice. It's still not going to produce you any food, brother. It doesn't matter if you point it at all of the people, the system. It don't matter who you point the finger at. The ground will still not produce you any food. The only way that the ground will produce you any crops is when you start to plant the seed into the ground. And that's what I always highlight. Brothers, this is me planting seed into the ground. This is how I've been able to overcome single-parent household. This is how I've been able to overcome a recession. This is how I've been able to overcome attempted murder, possession of drugs, drug trafficking, possession of firearms. Do you know how it is to try to go out there and get a job with that stuff on your background? I worked for $6.85 an hour. In 2007, I worked it like it was $40 an hour because I said I will never sell dope again because selling dope will put me back in a situation to where I can be a legal slave, and I'm not okay with being a legal slave. So I planted the seed. So I worked for other people, and now I'm in a position to where I'm working for myself now. This is my full-time job, brothers. It's been that since 2014. I resigned from my third shift job in 2014. I told my boss, I said, man, you know what? You fired. It's somebody else to take your position now. Me, I'm the boss now. I'm taking your position, boss. The work, plant the seed. So people will see me with my children, and I say, man, I'm influential in their lives. Why? Because of the seed that has been planted to develop that relationship. So what we're going to be talking about in this class is how do we establish a strong, positive relationship with our children? Because when you have a positive relationship, then that's how you get the influence that we desire. Now, the only way that you're going to be able to have, I'm telling you, a positive relationship is reserved for those people who are focused on it. If you're not focused on a positive relationship, you will not get it. And you're going to try to get the things that a positive relationship offers, but you will not be able to get it because why? You didn't plant the seed. You didn't put in the work to be able to warrant what you're saying that you want. So what is a strong positive relationship? And this is the beginning of class. I know y'all thought it was before the beginning. This is actually the beginning of class. Now we're going to cover the content, right? Okay? So what is a strong positive relationship, fellas? A strong positive relationship is a relationship without barriers. Because what are we trying to do? We are trying to use that strong positive relationship to do what? Transfer information. That means that we want to be able to give our children the information that we have. What does everybody in here have over their children? Who said that? Absolutely right. Everybody in here has experience over their children. That means you have more experience. And because you have more experience, that will forever make you valuable to them. That means that you know what not to do and you know what to do. You know what works, you know what don't work. So now what we want to do is give our children the information to not do the things that don't work. That means I can tell my son, listen, man, hey, don't try to sell no dope, because when you try to sell dope, I'm telling you, you're going to end up in a place you don't want to be, right? Like, I want him to be able to process information off of that, because I know I got their best interest at heart. I don't want my son thinking like, man, if I sell this dope, man, I'm going to be able to make it to the top. I'm going to be able to level up. I'm going to be able to really provide for my family. Gee, like you said, like, man, I was thinking that I was providing for my family because that's what I've been told. So because I believe that, I moved in that way aggressively. I don't want my children developing off of that bogus information. I want them to get it exactly how it is. So then this is the reason why we want to establish that strong positive relationship with our children. A positive relationship is what? Again, fellas, a relationship without what? Barriers. Barriers. Because what are we trying to do, fellas? Transfer information. We are looking to transfer information because we want our children to go out there in society and operate off of the information that we put into them. Right? We don't want their minds to be developed off of information of people who don't have their best interests at heart. Why? Because the people, they might even be manipulative, or they might just don't have the information themselves, and they pass that same low quality information around. How many people pass around? How many times have you heard low quality information just circulate? And people will say, especially when I be like in these systems and stuff, because this is a part of me turning the penitentiary on its head and working and moving in that direction, is that I get into these systems. And when I get into these systems, I get the information. The systems that I'm talking about, like I'm in child support on Tuesday, right? They contract me to be in child support. And I get the information from the people in child support. How does this work? What can happen? How do you do this? How do you do that? And when I get that information, now I can give it to brothers. But a lot of times when I give it to brothers, they got all of this bogus information that they've received. And they like, man, hold up, man. They say, I ain't trying to establish custody because I don't want to be put on child support. Brother, low quality information. Boom, here goes some high quality information. See, low quality information, it circulates. This is why the hood is the hood. This is why we be in situations that we are in, because we have low quality information. And that's how we are making our decisions. That's how we have developed our philosophies. Y'all get that?
Sorry, it took you longer.
Okay, cool.
Who needs expungement paperwork? Just you? You know?
Hold up, brother. Hold up. You're expunged. He's cool.
What?
You're expunged. You're expunged. Brother, you cool. He's cool. He don't need expungement paperwork. I just touched you, brother. You're expunged. You don't have to worry about it. When you look at your background, there won't be no felonies on there ever again, man.
I don't even think this is real.
Right? I don't even look into it. I'm just going to be honest, man. Stuff I got, it don't get expunged anyway.
You can get it.
I can't even get rid of it. I can't get rid of it, man. I can't get rid of my stuff.
I got all drug cases.
I can't get up.
That's not about expungement. It's about sealed.
Right, yeah. So mine can't get sealed or expunged. So they let people know about me. But the thing about it is, that's cool with me though. It's like, but I use it. Like, I don't allow nothing to bog me down, man. So now it's like,
this ain't gonna let me get a carry concealed weapon.
Right, yeah, right.
It's sealed or not sealed.
Right, it's sealed or not sealed. Absolutely. So yeah, brothers, but brothers, this is what we got. This is what we want to focus on. Though we want to focus on, man, establishing that strong, positive relationship with our children, because we want to be in the driver's seat of our children's lives. Now, what's the first step that we got to do to establish a strong, positive relationship? Now, remember, we said that we want to be conscious as fathers. That means that if we're going to establish a strong, positive relationship, the first place that it starts is where? With who? It starts with us. So now I want to be intentional and deliberate about what type of father that I'm delivering to my children. That means that I don't want them to have any old father. If we are not focused and intentional on what type of father that we are giving them, then guess what type of father that they're going to get? Any type of father, right? So this is where it starts at. So we want to say, man, what type of father do I want my children to have? How do we come to that conclusion? The way that we come to the conclusion on understanding what type of father that we're going to deliver to our children, the first place that we want to do is, we want to start at is where? With our own childhood. This is where the work is at, fellas. So we want to reflect. This is good. This is what I do. I'm telling you, I apply this stuff to my parenting. This is why I be so excited about this stuff, right? And it changes the game. So the first thing that we do is we reflect. We reflect on our childhood. We look at the interactions that we had with our parents, right? And when we're looking at the interactions that we had with our parents, the first thing that we want to do is we want to look at the positive interactions that we had with our parents. And when we think about those positive interactions, now the next thing that we must do is duplicate those positive interactions in our parenting. Right? So, I'm going to give you an example. And it can be anything. So my father, he used to come outside and he used to play football with me and my friends. I used to love every bit of that. He used to be the all-time quarterback, right? And he would come outside, he'd be like, man, I'm the all-time quarterback, and I used to be like, man, that's cool. And my friends who didn't have fathers in their lives, they used to look at my father and be like, man, your dad's so doggone cool. Even though we don't ever get the ball when you're the all-time quarterback and we on your team, because every time he throwing the ball to you be triple coverage and everything. Sometimes I be in quadruple coverage. He still fits the ball into me, right? I just used to love that stuff. But my friends was okay just with the possibility of them getting the ball. They'd be wide open and he'll still throw the ball to me. And they were still just excited that he was still out there. So when they did either get the ball, they can show him what they can do. So they was excited. And I felt good that my father would just take that time and come outside and just kick it with us, for real. It made me feel good, right? My father also, he used to come to the school right before he would go to work. He was a janitor at Oberlin College. And right before he would go to work, he would drop off jelly donuts at the school. He would be like, man, boom, powdered jelly donuts from my favorite bakery at a time where I didn't know he was going to drop them off. He just out the blue, right? And they would call me down to the office, and I would be like, oh, man, because, you know, I was doing stuff in school. I'm like, man, they calling me down to the office, man. They done figured out what I done did. Somebody done told on me, right? This is what I'm thinking. So when I'm going down to the office and I see that white bag with them donuts in it, I'm like, ooh. They's like, your father dropped these off. I'm like, ooh. I get to eat these joints for lunch while everybody else is eating that prison food. I'm like, I get to eat, man, these powdered jelly donuts. So I was excited. It made me feel like I was valuable, right? Look, I want y'all to catch this, fellas. So I say, man, you know what? If I'm trying to figure out what type of father that I want to be, guess what I'm going to do? I'm just going to duplicate that which I already know to be right. I'm going to pull from my past to help become the father that I need to be. I'm going to use that information for my benefit. So I already know it to be right, and I know it's right because it made me feel good on the inside. It gave me some positive feelings when my father interacted with me in that way. So if it gave me positive feelings, what will it do for my children? It will give them positive feelings. You see what I'm saying? So now I'm going to do the same exact thing with my children intentionally. because I'm focused on it. So now, guess what? Now, when my son, he was in 2nd grade, I come up to the school and I say, son, what's up, man? What's going on, man? I pop up with a pizza or some chicken wings, and not only do I don't drop them off, but I sit down and I have lunch with him in the cafeteria. This brother was excited about that stuff, right? And then when it was time to go to recess, I say, son, man, hey, tell all your friends, man, we about to get it in, man. I'm telling y'all, I got like a 4.2 speed. I'm 4.2 40 type speed, man. Y'all ain't gonna be able to catch me, right? And his friends was like, all of the whole 2nd grade was like, we gonna catch you. And I told him, I said, man, I'm Super Dad. And ever since then, they was calling me Super Dad. They was like, man, we gonna catch you, Super Dad. And I said, you can't catch me. I'm Super Dad. Literally, I'm dead serious. This is how I was going at it with my son's friends in his class, right? And they was like, we gonna catch you. So I take off, boom, I'm running. They running like a mother. They like, we gonna get you, Super Dad. I say, you can't catch me. You can't catch me. And I'm running. I'm pretty fast. I'm like, y'all legs too small, man. But them jokers never did get tired. And they just kept on running. And I'm like, I'm running in circles. I'm like, dang, I'm getting kind of gas, right? I'm like, dang, these jokers catching up to me, right? And one of them jumped from there, like, on some different stuff and grabbed onto my back. I'm like, dang, brother, you still light, little fella. I'm still running, right? And then another one, but he slowed me down just a bit. He slowed me down enough for another one to latch on to me. I said, damn, another one got me. I wasn't trying to go down to the ground, but them jokers, as strong as they are when they come together, is crazy, right? So it's like, next thing I know, it was like another kid latch on to me, another kid latch on to me. It's like, we're going to get you one way or another, Super Dad. This is what they saying. This stuff on video, I kid you not. And they take me down to the ground, and I'm like, oh no, I'm being submerged by the children, right? And you could just see them just overtaking me. The kids was having a ball, man. It was crazy because my son said a couple of years after that, he said that the kids were still asking him, man, when's Super Dad coming back through, man? You know, you got the connection to Super Dad, right? Like, it was crazy that they still remembered that, but not only did they remember it, he remembered it. What I did was I just gave my son the same thing that I was given when I was a child. My father made himself accessible to me and my children, so I say that I'm going to intentionally make myself accessible to my children.
But it's hard to give somebody something that you never had before.
But this is good, too. But this is what I'm saying. But now, because we're going to get there, too. We're going to get there, too, because it's always a way, right? So now, but the only thing that we are looking at, what it is that was right. That's the only thing that we're looking at. So we saying that, man, I'm going to give my children what it was that was right. So whatever it is that your mother did, whatever it is that your grandfather did that make you feel good about that interaction, you are just going to duplicate that and give that to your children. So now that's the only responsibility that you got right now, is just looking at what was right between you and the adults in your life when they interacted with you, that gave you the positive feelings, because you are shaping this father that you want to give to your children. You are saying, man, my children matter that much that I'm going to give it some thought about what type of father that I'm going to be when I'm interacting with them. I'm not just going to come from a lackluster approach and just be relaxed in doing my fatherhood. I'm going to think about it with my mind. I'm going to serve the relationship with me and my children with my mind. That means that I'm going to think about what I am doing, right? Because they matter. Like, that's what it takes. So only thing that you are to do is what? Just look at the positive interaction that you had, right? Now, the next thing that you are to do is what? You want to look at the negative. So now you want to look at the negative. Why is it important that you look at the negative? How many, I'm going to ask y'all this too, straight up. How many fathers or parents in general do you think give their children that same negative that they got when they were children? I didn't like the way that my mother or my father hollered at me when I was young. I didn't like the way that my father or my mother said that they were going to show up and they didn't show up. Their word always fell through the cracks. And now that I'm a parent, guess what's happening? My word is falling through the cracks just as well. Just like my father or my mother wasn't there, guess what? I just shaped up my life in a way to where I'm not there. So the same thing that I didn't like when I was a child, guess what? My children are getting that same exact thing. Why do we do that? The reason why we do that, because we do that stuff unconsciously. We're not thinking about it. If we was to think about it, we would resist it because we already know it to be poison. If we know it's poison, we know it's going to make our children sick. Everybody in here, I know y'all love y'all children. You are not going to give them something that you know is going to make them sick. The only way that you can give them something that's going to make them sick is when you give them something that you are not aware that you are giving them. Because you are unconscious. So then that's why I said in the beginning, we want to be conscious fathers. Know what we are doing. So that's why we want to identify the negative and then resist from giving our children the negative. So if I say that, man, you know what, man, I didn't like it when my mother would tell me that she was going to send something and she was incarcerated. She couldn't send it. I didn't know she was incarcerated, but she would say that she was going to send it. I looked in the mail for that stuff to come. It never did come. That made me feel negatively. I'm straight up. I was like, man, what the heck? Like, you said you were sending this stuff, and this ain't nothing getting sent, right? So now what do I do as a father? I guarantee it. I kid you not. When I tell my children something, I mean that stuff. I don't even say it unless I mean it. So when they say, Dad, is it a yes? And if I say yes, then you best believe it's a yes. My daughter say, man, hey, Dad, can we go to the trampoline park? And I'll be like, And then I'll say, we'll look into it. But I'm not going to give her a yes, and then when school is out, and she's saying, let's go to the trampoline park, and then I say, man, there's something else for me to do. It doesn't even matter how I feel. If I say yes, then I'm going to get it done. Right? Like, because I don't want my feelings to dictate my behavior. If my feelings dictate my behavior, then our relationship will be unstable because feelings are unstable. I need my mind to dictate my behavior. That's why I'm so invested into putting the things in my mind to control my behavior. Like, brother, if your feelings dictate your behavior, when you don't feel like doing something, you ain't gonna do it. It doesn't matter that it needs to be done because you don't feel like doing it, you won't do it. Or when you do feel like doing it, you gonna do it. That's too inconsistent. So that's why I make sure that I come through and I say what I'm gonna do. I do what I say and I say what I'm gonna do. So if my father or if my father was there at the games and I like that, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be there at the games. My son's football games, man, my daughter's cheerleading rehearsals, I'm there. I'm duplicating that. I'm identifying and I'm resisting the negative. I see people who say that they had I see people who say that, man, you know what, they used to look up in the stands and they ain't see their parents in the stands. And it made them feel a certain type of way. It made them feel like they wasn't cared for. Right? You know, his fathers just like that. They say, man, I used to play basketball, I used to play baseball, I used to play football, and I used to look up in the stands and there was no parent there. My parent wasn't there. They had stuff that they had to do. It made me feel negatively. But because they don't identify that negative feeling, guess what they do? They end up giving their children that same thing. Something always is going to come up. It's always going to be a reason for you not to make it there, right? Whether it's work, overtime, whatever. You got to be able to tell your boss, no, I can't do overtime because I got this game to go to. I got to at least go to 2 games a year because I don't want to be that father like I received when I was young. So you start to shape up, you know, this father that you want to be because you're thinking about it. So that's the greatest challenge, is just to think about it. Just think about what type of father that you want to give to your children, right? So what do? You duplicate the positive, and then you identify and resist the negative. That means you don't give your children the same negative that you was given. If it was wrong for you, then it would be wrong for your children. Because our main objective is what? To establish a strong, positive relationship. So now, after we do that, because you asked the question, man, well, what if, man, we ain't had them type of fathers? Now the next layer to this, establishing a strong, positive relationship with our children, and also understanding what type of father that we want to deliver to our children. The next layer that we want to peel back is where? Is looking outside of ourselves, looking at other fathers in households in the community. We're looking at fathers on the TV screen, fathers in TV shows and movies, right? So I looked at my wife and kids, and I got ideas from my wife and kids. Damon Wayans. I got ideas from Furious Styles. in Boys in the Hood. I say, man, I like the way that Furious Styles was always informational with his children, with Trey. Like, he always gave Trey information. He was always breaking things down. And I want to be an informational father like Furious Styles. So what does that do for me? That says that I got to go out there and I got to learn. I got to be a student. The only way that I'm going to be able to teach like a Furious Styles is if I be a student. Right? So then that puts me in a position to where I say, I got to read these books. I got to get on this YouTube station. I got to get into this program. I got to get into this training because of the type of father that I desire to be. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if I see, man, Damon Wayans, he's a creative dad, I say, man, I like the way that this brother is with his children. Man, this brother's creative. He be coming up with different ways to drive home points with his children. And I say, man, I want to be a creative dad like that too as well. This is us looking outside of ourselves. So I start to implement things for me to be a creative dad in my parenting. I'm getting the idea from Damon Wayans and I'm making it mine. So what I did in my household, I've created the double up. What the double up is that I started it when my teenagers, when my son was 13 and my stepson was 12. So I started it with them, right? The double up is this. It's something that I do in my household to encourage them to save and also be prepared for opportunity. Because I understand that opportunity knocks, but preparation answers. And I want my children to have the mind to be able to be prepared for opportunities when they come, right? I'm just trying to give them the mind that I feel like that they need to have. I get this accomplished in the double up. I got creative because I was looking at my wife and kids. It wasn't something that he said. It was just something that I made up, just trying to be creative. So what I do with the double up is I do allowance. I was doing allowance every 2 weeks, $20, $30 or whatever may be the case. And I would tell my son and my stepson, I would say, man, I'm gonna come up to you at an undisclosed time and I'm gonna say double up. When I say double up, I'm going to match whatever money you have saved at that particular time. And this is not going to interfere with your allowance. That means that if I say double up on a Thursday and your allowance is on a Friday, you're going to get the double up on a Thursday and you'll still get your allowance on a Friday. And I let them know the reason behind the double up. I want y'all to be prepared for opportunities when they come, but I also want you to know the importance of saving and investing, right? Because we don't have money problems, we have thinking problems. So I don't want my children to be them adults who buy everything that they want and then beg for what they need, right? Because I know that that's going to put them in a bad space. So I want them to be the adults that, you know, that buy the things that they need and then, you know, be in a different situation.
$300 on Thursday.
Good question, right? So, good question. So now, if they have $30, I'm going to give them another $30. Make them have $60. If they have $60, I'm going to give them another $60. Make them have $120. If they have $300, I'm going to give them another $300. Make them have $600. Right? This is the double up. Double up is exactly what it is.
And still give them $30 Friday.
And still give them the $30 Friday. Because again, the double up cannot interfere with their allowance. This is the rules, right? It's my word. My word don't come back void. So I got to be prepared. But when I feel like that they are getting up to that $300, I'm going to go ahead and break it down to percentages for real. I'm going to be like, I'm going to give you 12.7%. Figure that stuff out. When you get older, I'm going to be like, brother, I'm not doing no double up because you ain't about to whack me in the head for no $300-400. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, we're going to do 12.7%. Let me see if you know your math.
You going to buy stuff anyway.
Right. Like, so, right. But look, opportunity of a lifetime, during the lifetime of the opportunity. I explained that to the kids, right? I said, man, boom. And they like, wow, okay, cool. Let's make it happen, man. You know what I'm saying? I waited about 3 months. I came up to him. I told the youngest one. I said, double up. He looked at me. He said, huh? I didn't know this stuff was for real. I said, double up, man. What's happening? Right? And this brother,
I think it's child too, though.
I know. We eating good food though here. We can't eat off of bread alone, brothers. Come on, we eating good food here. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna wrap it up though. I'm gonna wrap it up. So I said, double up. And he's looking at me, he says, dang, man, this brother walking real slow. He's like, man, dang, their room was downstairs. He walking real slow downstairs. I'm like, this brother broke in the mug, right? I know it, right? This brother comes back upstairs, and I knew he ain't had nothing because his fist was like this. I knew he had change. He ain't had nothing. So I'm like, man, this brother got change. He dropped a couple pennies. I said, man, bro, get them pennies, man. Count all that stuff up. This brother was desperate. He dropped it on the table. This was 3 months of allowance that he could have had doubled up on, right? He dropped it on the table, and when he dropped that thing on the table, it was every bit $1.80 over 3 months of allowance, right? I said, man, no doubt. I gave him $2. And I said, man, and my petty self, I said, man, let me get that 20 cents. So I took 20 cents from his little change. I said, let me get that 20 cents. That's change. You get $1.80, right? You don't get $2. You owe me 20 cents, right? So now he had $3.60. That brother, he went on away. I told my oldest son, I said, double up. This brother took off. He's like, yeah, I've been waiting for this. I'm like, oh. I should have said the dang on percentages, right? Like this brother might have caught me sleeping. This brother been laying in the bushes on me, right? This brother runs downstairs. He comes back upstairs, and he says, yeah, Dad, what's up, what's up? And he pulls out his pocket. He pulled $35 out his pocket. I say, man, cool. Sheesh, I had $35. I gave him another $35. He then had $70. He said, man, Dad, man, I could have doubled up on more than that, way more. He's like, I'm going to start to monitor, man, how I spend my money. The youngest one said, man, I need to go ahead and scrap my whole philosophy in the way that I look at money, right? Because I missed an opportunity. See what I'm trying to do? Only thing that I'm trying to do is what? Give them the mind that they going to need to have once they are adults. Remember what did I say in the beginning? This is the greatest responsibility. It is our responsibility to develop our children's minds so that they can be effective in life. If they are ineffective in life, it's because we didn't put the proper tools in their tool belt to go at life with. And that's why they continuing to mess up in life. Only thing they got is a butter knife. Because we didn't give them all of the tools. While they see their counterparts, man, with drills and Phillips head screwdrivers and flatheads and hammers and everything else. They got power drills and they sit up there trying to put a house together with a butter knife because that's all we gave them. Like, we don't want our children to come back and have that conversation with us and say, Dad, how come you only gave me a butter knife to go at life with? I don't have the tools to go at life with. You didn't develop me with the right mind. Now I'm forced to go out there and get tools from other people. Cause you was like sleeping in your fatherhood. Brothers, y'all see how important this stuff is? This stuff ain't gonna be done, brothers, just because we want it to be done, just because we need it to be done. The only way that it's going to be done is if we make the sacrifice and we put in the work. I can come in here and I can tell y'all these concepts all day long. It's on you to apply them because I can't apply them for you. I'm applying them for myself. I come in and give you brothers the tools. It's on you to use them. But you can stash them away and be like, they're going to be ineffective. I'm using these tools, brothers. All right? Saturday, we're going to rock and roll again at 10 o'clock. All right? How y'all feel, brothers? It's good stuff?
Good night, man.
No doubt. Absolutely, man. Appreciate it, man.
I enjoy being here.
No doubt, man. Absolutely, man.
You shed some light on some.
Absolutely. Good stuff. We're going to keep on rocking and rolling, man. Y'all see any fathers out there, man?
What's the name of your books?
Oh, Prison Without Bars.
I got it.
It starts with it. He got him.
Looking on the wake up.
No doubt. Absolutely. No doubt, man. Man, appreciate you getting up, brother. You know what I'm saying? That's hunger, man. That's game changing, man.
So you said there's 3 of them?
Yeah, it's 3 of them. Yep, there's 2 more. The walking logo.
You do this on the street?
Yeah, yep.
But it's in Columbus or here?
Here, yep. So, yep. So I'm at the NECIC.
NECIC. Oh, yep. There were,
Deanna,
yeah,
yep.
that's my best friend, Taj Torrent.
Yep, yep, absolutely. Yep, see what I'm saying? Yep, so then that's where I host class at in the community. Yep. So, yep.
You got Christian up there?
I don't know.
Big Christian with the dreads?
I think so, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, so, man, yeah, so yep, there go the books, brother. That brother got the books. He got that's that information, brother.
All right, I'm going to check them out. I'm reading for real.
No doubt. That's where the work is at.
I'm reading the BMF book.
No doubt. Right, like that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying, man. Like that's what I'm saying, man. Like that's where it's at, brother. Especially what you trying to get accomplished, you're gonna have to have the mind to be able to get it done.
I already got like my LLC.
No doubt.
All I gotta do is pay
No doubt.
Everything, my business proposal, all that.
No doubt. Even to face the challenges that you're gonna face in getting it done, you're gonna have the mind to be able to get it done. You got to have the mind to be able to get it done. Straight up. Like, man, starts within. I started it in 2011, man. It's still chucking now because of the mind, right? Because I just won't let it go. But it's been all kind of different challenges that came at me. And if you ain't got the right mind, man, you ain't gonna be, you gonna set it down. That's why you gotta get like that information that's in them books and things like that.
Like I said, I'm 28.
No.
About like 7 years and just being locked up.
And that's what I'm saying. And that's when it's like, man, enough is enough, right? Like enough is enough, man. Like people is like it's enough is enough.
But it's still 7 years.
Right, it's still 7 years, man. You know, it's still 7 years.
Like 3 years on the street.
Right, like that stuff is ridiculous, man. And we got to come to that conclusion and say enough is enough. And when you say enough is enough, that's when you'll start to get into these books and start to get the content that you need to have.
I read them for sure.
That's what it is, brother.
I read books.
I'm gonna ask you too.
I don't read novels. That's why.
So right, and that's why I wrote them just like that too, man.
Novel?
Yeah, no, I'm talking about just like 57 pages,
no,
so you can breeze through it.
Like books like that, I read like autobiographies.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Stuff like, I don't read novels.
No
like
doubt.
Hood books and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
BMF book is a, you know what I'm saying? It's really a hood book, but
Right.
It ain't no made up stuff.
Right, no doubt, absolutely.
That's a fact. Like even though it's like a lot of bad stuff in it, but you can take a lot from it.
Right, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's why I be trying to like reverse psychology myself.
No doubt, absolutely.
I'm not a dummy, man, but
actually,
a lot of dumb shit.
I know. Right.
Sure, man, but I appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate you, G. Saturday.
I'll be here.
All right.